Subaru is canceling the STI as we know it. Guys, I wish I had good news for you. Unfortunately, Subaru is ditching the STI, at least in its current form. We'll talk about the history of the STI today. We'll also talk about where they could be going with the STI brand in the future. And it's a moment for us to pour one out for our homie, the STI. I'm doing it with Clout Coffee, made in Nebraska, just like myself. And if you like whiskey and rum, they barrel age this coffee with those delicious spirits. Speaking of spirit, the spirit of the STI must live on, but we need to read the statement from Subaru here. Man, I don't want to read this. I haven't read it yet, and there's a reason, because I'm a little sad, a little furious, but let's get into it. As the automotive marketplace continues to move towards electrification, Subaru is focused on how our future sports and performance cars should evolve to meet the needs of the changing marketplace and the regulations and requirements for greenhouse gases, zero emission vehicles, and corporate average fuel economy. That one being probably the most important thing when it comes to killing off the STI, at least in the short term. We know that thing is not helping their CAFÉ ratings. And all the legislation that's coming from our beloved governments is forcing the death of V8s, fun cars like the STI. I could keep going. Luckily, we still have a last effort from the Japanese automakers, and you can say the American and German automakers as well, to push for fun, engaging internal combustion engine cars before they're essentially outlawed. Subaru Corporation is exploring opportunities for the next generation WRX STI, including electrification. In the meantime, a next generation internal combustion engine WRX STI will not be produced based upon the new WRX platform. So the new WRX is it. It's the final edition of a high performance manual transmission, all-wheel drive, a boxer 4-cylinder from Subaru. We're not going to get an STI version of the latest WRX. And this is coming out of left field. No one was expecting this. I've been hypothesizing on STI variants of the new WRX for a couple of years now. And we were hearing reports as well that, that the internals of the new FA24 engine could handle like 400 horsepower. So I don't think we're going to see it from the factory though. Subaru WRX STI and STI brand represent the zenith of Subaru's performance vehicles, exemplifying Subaru's unique DNA and rally heritage. As we look to the future, we also look forward to incorporating the essence of STI in our next generation of vehicles. In 1992, Subaru introduced the WRX, which came with the first ever Subaru Impreza. In 94, Subaru released the first ever WRX STI. Those models eventually came to America in the early 2000s. I'll play the amazing B-roll from Wikipedia for the history of the WRX. I'm not a WRX aficionado, but I am a Japanese car freak, as you guys know. And seeing the death of an icon, it's been like 3 decades of STI. And sadly, kind of like the death of a loved one, we can dwell on the past, be sad about the death of the STI as we know it, or we can take this opportunity to look into the future and try to get as excited as we can, because a character is going to be very different in the reincarnation of the STI. So on January 14th at the Tokyo Auto Salon, Subaru announced the STI ERA concept for electric record attempt. And it's this supercar right here, fully battery electric. It's made in conjunction with Yamaha. And I've been talking about Yamaha on the channel for a while with these electric motors, and they're able to produce a 2,000 horsepower supercar from their electric motors. The Subaru one is going to be around 1,000 horsepower. So the STI ERA is a concept, but it could come to fruition. We have been let down, I don't know how many times, by Subaru concepts. They all look so good. And then we either don't see the concept at all come to production, or it's like a completely watered down from what we saw in the concept. But the STI ERA could be a halo product for Subaru going forward. And just like Toyota's giving all their cars, well, a lot of their cars, the GR brand treatment, or even the GR Sport treatment, you can look at BMW giving their cars, like most of their cars, the M treatment in one shape or another. Subaru could be doing that with STI. And yes, they've done it with their models in the past, giving STI trims to the Legacy and other vehicles in their lineup. So what they could be doing is to have this halo product sitting on top of their product stack with maybe $100,000, $200,000, kind of competing with the GTR, the NSXs from their closest rivals in Japan. And then that trickles down. So then you would have STI variants of the Impreza, but it would be a 4-motor in conjunction with Yamaha, and you would also have STI variants potentially of the Outback, of the Legacy, etc., etc. And it would be much cheaper to do that in the electrification era than it would be in the gasoline turbocharged era as you know it. STI is far from dead. We're just on the brink of a rebirth of STI due to electrification. As a result, we'll have faster cars. They won't be cheaper by any means. The fact that with our current issues going on in the world, we're having supply chain disruptions, whether it's because of COVID or war breaking out in Europe. Nickel for batteries is at an all-time high, so we need to find other battery technologies to get away from the high-cost nickel and cobalt batteries that are currently the most energy dense on the market. And because of the high cost of battery cars right now, I don't think Subaru is going to be offering high-performance variants of their vehicles until we have more affordable battery packs and electric cars in general. Alongside the STI ERA concept, we had the Solterra STI concept. And it's pretty much the regular Solterra with some body cladding on it. And that fits in line with my imagination of the future of STI, where they have a halo product and then STI performance trickles down into the models below it. In theory, that should give us more STI models than we've ever had before. We could have a full wilderness lineup of Subaru vehicles. We can also have a fully electrified STI lineup that is a little bit more for the streets. But I need to wrap the video up. Of course, I have pretty strong feelings about this being a Japanese car aficionado. Luckily, I'm almost happy that I've never owned an STI, because I would probably be absolutely furious at this announcement. But I can look at it a little bit more from a general enthusiast perspective and try to see the silver lining in it. And I'll see you guys down below in the comments. Cannot wait to see what you guys have to say about the cancellation of the STI. New beginnings for STI, absolutely. And Subaru Technica International will live on some way, shape, or form through electrification in the coming years. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.